All right, good morning to our spring webinar series. We're excited that everybody could make it today. I'm back after a nice weekend to hear from our presenters today. We have Becky Gibney, our curriculum and online learning specialist, and Erin Hamilton, one of our tax staff, who also deals with early literacy and lots of other things here at the IU. They're going to be doing our second helping of Tech du Jour this morning. We're really excited to hear from them and see what they have. Before we get started, we have a few reminders. To avoid kickback, we have everyone muted, and we will unmute you at Q&A time. But in the meantime, if you have questions, you can post them in the chat as we go. This session is being recorded, so if you do not feel comfortable, you can turn off your camera. However, please keep in mind that we are looking to build community, and we would love it if you can leave your camera on throughout the session today. The session will have a presentation followed by question and answers, and at the conclusion, we'll post the feedback form in the chat, and you can go ahead and fill that out, which will first let us know how we did, and then also give you a chance to show that you were here in attendance today. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over, I believe, to Erin to get us started this morning.
Thanks, Scott. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to highlight something for you today called Quizzizz. Have any of you ever tried Quizzizz before that are on the chat? You could maybe just put in the chat box or do a hand raise to let me know if you've ever tried it before. No? Okay, it looks like so far, no. So this will be new to everybody, which is awesome. I think it's going to be a great tool for you to use regardless of what age you're teaching or what subject you're teaching. So what I used Quizzizz for in the classroom was really for engagement and to be able to check for understanding in a fun, creative way. So Quizzizz highlights themselves to be, like I said, engage everyone everywhere and to teach and learn anything on a device. You could do it in person or remotely. So I'm going to show you some ways to do it live if you're with a class and live, or if you want to do it as like an assignment. So first of all, if you see the website right there, Quizzizz, it's Quizzizz.com. And again, the presentation is in the chat also, that you'll have a link to that. But there's the website. And I'm going to go on there and show you a few things. See some of you writing that down, so I'll give you a second. Okay, so why would you use Quizzizz? It is engaging. It's similar to a Kahoot. So if you've used Kahoot before, it's very similar to that. However, I prefer Quizzizz for a few reasons. It's engaging, it's interactive, easy to navigate. Those are all kind of similar to Kahoot. However, if you've ever used Kahoot before, and your students are looking at the answer on your whiteboard on your screen, and they're also looking at it on their device, the device only has the 4 colors and it doesn't have the answers actually right in front of them. Where Quizzizz is different than that. The answers are actually right there on. There's no color coding, so it avoids like the look at your neighbor and see what color they chose. It also mixes up the answers, so my device is gonna have them in a different order than my neighbor's. So it kind of gets, I feel like Kahoot's an easy way to just kind of peek at your neighbor and pick the same thing. This kind of gets that out of the way. It does have quizzes already created for all different content areas and all different grade levels, which I'll show you how to navigate and look through the ones that are already created. The one thing I love about that also is that you can edit quizzes that are already created to make them your own. So the one I'm going to share with you today originally was 20 questions, and I didn't want to do that with all of you for 20 questions. So I just edited it down to 6 and was able to save it as my own. So that's a really great feature that they have as well. And we are creating digital citizens by using things like this to engage our kids in the classroom. So here are 3 easy steps really to get started with Quizzizz. You can set up your free teacher account. The free account gives you plenty of access to everything. There's no reason to do anything other than the free account. You can sign up with Google or your email. If you use Google Classroom, it's a great way to link these assignments right to Google Classroom. So it's very compatible with that. If that's something that you're already using, Quizzizz is very compatible. You're going to search for Quizzizz on any topic, which I'll share with you in just a second. And then, like I said before, you can play live with your students, or you can assign it as a homework, or something that they can do on their own time. So if you're doing that learning where the students are logging in at their own time and their own pace, that's something that Quizzizz is awesome for too. So set up your free teacher account. When you first go to Quizzizz, you're gonna see a screen similar to this. You'll just click on the start for free and sign in with your either your Google or your email. And then you'll be able to go ahead and search for quizzes on any topic. So let me take you there to show you what that looks like. Once you create your teacher or your teacher account, you'll see your name is over here. You can create a new quiz and create your own from the ground up. It'll be completely blank and you can do your own, or you can go to find a quiz, which is where I'm at now. So if I wanted to search for a quiz for any topic, let's say I wanted to do figurative language because I was teaching ELA, I would just search in the search bar and I would see all of these different quizzes that are already populated pop up. You can see that they give you how often they've been played. So kind of like how many people approved or liked that, what grade level that quiz is good for, and then again, the likes. If you find a quiz that you like, it will tell you who it's created by, and you can click on that person to see their other quizzes that they've created, because more than likely they're going to be something similar to what you've liked. So if I'm teaching a 4th or 5th grade classroom, of course I wouldn't want to pick that one or that one because it's too high. So I would continue to go down. This one's saying that it's for 3rd through 5th grade. So I could check that one. So if I find one that I think I like, I would click on it. I can preview this by just looking down at the bottom here and scrolling down. You'll see this is 11 questions and it will go through each question for you one at a time. You can either play it live where it will give you a code, which I'll show you in just a second. You can assign it as homework, or you can do solo practice if I'm a student just coming in and checking it out. Again, up here, it gives you options to share with, you can email the code out, you can link it to your Google Classroom. If you have remote learners who are not getting devices that you're sending packets out or paper pencil, there is an option to print the quiz out. So that's something that you can use for your students that don't have online capability. Let me just go back to the presentation real quick so I can show you. This is talking about playing live or assigning as homework. Like I just said, you have the choice of doing a live game or assigning it. And the big thing that we want to remember is these webinars are really great for the day and age that we're in right now. However, this can help you when you're teaching remotely or when you get back into the brick and mortar classroom. I wanted to make sure that you know that's something that I think is really engaging when you get in with your kids. If you choose assign as homework, you'll see a screen that looks similar to this, and you have some choices. So you can choose the date that you want to assign it. You can choose the time that you want to assign it, so that students can't go in before you teach a lesson, or it can be like an enrichment activity. So that is an option to assign as homework. And then this is what it will look like if you're trying to upload it into your Google Classroom. Once you assign it, it will ask you if you want to invite participants, and you can either give them the code to join, or you can share the link on Google Classroom, or copy a link to include in an email to send to them. So if you'd like to play a Quizzizz game with me, you would have to log on to Quizzizz, Quizzizz.com. If you could do that for me on another window. And I'll put the code up there. Actually, if we could put the code in the, oh, here's the code for you. We'll use this code. 144753. We'll put it in the chat. The code is 144753. All right, so you can see here, this is my, at the end of the game, you can see who came in first. Their names will come on. And as you were playing, I was toggling between what I could see as the teacher, where I could see the questions that were correct, the questions that were wrong. And this is the part that as an instructor, I think is really great. You can go through your questions again and see question 1, who had accuracy in what question. So question 5, my whole class had 100%. So I know that the understanding of that is there. But anything that wasn't at 100%, I could go back and see. I could email to the parents. I can send a report to the parents if the email is in there. So there's a lot of great things. Here's the questions again, if I want to look through and see how long it took them to answer, what ones we got correct, which ones we got incorrect. And then the final thing I wanted to share with you is at the top, some of them are linked to standards, some of them are not. So there's something you can go ahead and look. Some of the quizzes will have the standards there. So I just wanted to share with you what that looks like if we're actually playing it together. Does anyone have questions? You can chat, put them in the chat for Quizzizz before Becky goes on to Edpuzzle. If not, I'll let Becky take over here and she'll start Edpuzzle.
Yeah. So I think you guys can hear me? I'm good? Correct. Okay. So Edpuzzle, I'm going to go quickly through this because I think we have about 10 minutes-ish. So really quickly, if you have not worked with Edpuzzle is a great tool, like Erin said, that even when you get back into the classroom, it's really beneficial to use for flipped instruction. And also, you know, I found when I was out, if I had a sub, that it was great to just put this for my students and they could go through it and I can monitor their learning while I'm not there. So why Edpuzzle? It's very interactive. You will have to tell your kids, especially if they're back in the classroom, that to have like to plug in, because you don't want to have 25 different videos going at once. It drives you a little crazy. You can use existing lessons that are already created, or you can customize the content. So it is for all content areas. There is a curriculum bank, and if your district buys a pro account, like if there's enough teachers using it, you can create your own like district and then have a curriculum bank. So you guys could be sharing the videos as a department. You can track student progress, so you can see how long students are taking on each section of a video, which I think is great for one, differentiation, and two, you know, special education students, you know, those students with different needs, that you can track and see what they're doing and how they're progressing throughout it. If you're doing one-on-one conferencing, small group instruction, you can use this as a formative assessment so that you can use some small group instruction and as a station. So a lot of different ways you can use it. And of course, it's great if you flip a lesson. So you can use this for a before lesson, during your lesson, or even afterwards. So the ins and outs, how you do this. So if I were to go to Edpuzzle here, I already clicked in, you create a teacher account. You say, I am an educator, and there is a free platform. That's the one that I use. You get a limited number of videos, but again, depending on what your district does, sometimes your district creates, already has a pro account and you may not know it. So check in with your districts. Once you get in, this is your dashboard. And what you can see here on the left here is, it's a little bit easier for me if I just walk you through it because there are so many features. But you have the content here. You have your home, which is what is trending, curriculum. So this is where, like, if I'm tied to a school, like here's elementary school curriculum, middle school, high school, just within our Blast Intermediate unit. So I can see that 3 teachers in our intermediate unit use it. Here's some STEM videos that we already have created, and then other. And then just personally my own content. So I did this a lot, again, like I said, in my Spanish classrooms. That's why you see por and para and things like that. You can also embed videos from all of these different resources as well. So Edpuzzle already has a whole bank of them, YouTube, Khan Academy, and so forth. So you can always steal from there. Not steal, you know what I mean. But also, Scott did a session last week on screencasting. So if you did not see that one, you can go and check that out at our online learning hub, which will give you the link then. Or if you were part of that, you know how to screencast. So if you already have a video from YouTube or saved on your desktop, you can actually upload that video and then turn your screencast into an Edpuzzle. So basically it allows you to self-pace. When I look at these videos, I can see that this video is 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I can see that there's already 4 questions within it built in. I can see that this one has 23 questions already built in. That's a lot. So remember, when you're doing these videos, you want to keep it so that it is, in my opinion, less than 10 minutes. A kid doesn't want to sit there for more than 10 minutes. And also, you know, it's up to you how many questions you ask. So I'm going to show this to you here. So if I click on it, these are the questions. I can assign it to a class, so you can create a class. Again, keeping in mind right now that this session is just an overview. I can go deeper as well into Edpuzzle with you, but I'm just showing you the basics as well. So I can assign it to a class. If I create a class, I can edit it, duplicate it, or delete it. So if I duplicate, I can duplicate it and put it into another classroom. I can't edit this because I already edited this version of it. But if I go back and let's say I just go to Edpuzzle and create a video, intro to probability, here we go. And say I want to edit it. If I go in, I can watch the video. Here's like an open-ended, you can do some voiceovers. So for example, I can start speaking over the video and then I can embed questions. So the questions that you can embed are either multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, or I can add my own notes. So, you know, I could just say, hey, pay attention here. This is a really good point that they're making. Or like I said, you can voice over and say that over top of it as well. The multiple choice questions, they grade it for you. They self-grade it, and then you can put that right into your grade book. The open-ended ones you would need to read, and then you can comment back to them. So that's very brief on what this platform sort of looks like when you get into it. I do believe, and Erin, you can shake your head yes or no. I'm not sure if you've used this, but I feel like it is very user-friendly once you get in and play around with it. Like I said, I would vet them first. Like, don't just go to the bank and say, oh, this looks good, I'm going to use it. Please watch it first, because some of them are a little different. What it looks like from a teacher standpoint. So up top, sorry, I can't really see because you guys are, if I go to my classes, I did not assign a due date. But if I look at my students, so I can see all these students, I can click, and I can use Megan because I know she won't really mind, but I can see, you know, I can reset her password, I can edit her name, things like that. I can invite students up here. If I invite them, all they would need to do is create their account using Google or create their own username and password, put in their class code, and then they're automatically in your class. Then they never need to, you know, put that code in again. They always will be in your class. And so when you add a new video, they'll get an email and they'll see it. You can give them, copy this link and embed it into any of your LMS platforms, or you can share it via email. If I look at assignments that were due, I can click on this and I can see which students, now no one started this obviously, but I can see which students have started it, how they've watched it. I can see when they last watched it and if they turned it in. If I click then on the student, it'll show me how many responses were correct. Here it will show me how long and color coded. So if it's green, it means they didn't really have an issue in that section of the video. If it's yellow, they did. And if it's red, I might want to, when I'm doing one-on-one conferencing, touch base, like, were you struggling with this part, and so forth. And then if they answered any questions. So that's sort of what it looks like on a teacher end of it. Let me go back to the presentation here. I found that very beneficial and useful as I'm sort of like, you know, either monitoring my students, doing one-on-one conferencing, and especially when I was out of the classroom too. So you can see how they progress. So how you could use this in the classroom, you can flip your lesson. Like I said, you can provide this for homework. You can use this for parents. If they're not sure of a concept and they need that extra support at home, like the student does, the parents could jump on and watch these. You can use it for station work. Like I said, sub-plans, the summative informative assessment, and then review. So that's Edpuzzle in a nutshell. I'm going to stop sharing. And it's perfect timing. We have about 3 minutes. Does anyone have any questions regarding either Quizzizz or Edpuzzle? And again, we are more than willing, and I'm speaking for Erin, but I know she's okay with it, to go any deeper with these as you would like. But for the sake of time, we'll open it right now to questions. You can type them in the chat, or I think Scott's going to unmute you, and so you can speak.
You can unmute yourselves now.
Regarding quizzes, also, I kind of second what Rebecca said about Edpuzzle. Make sure, even if it looks good, make sure you go through the quiz yourself before you just assign it, because some of the questions might not be exactly what you've already taught or you've done. That's why I like the ability to edit the quizzes and make sure, you know, you can remove questions that don't fit your teaching or add in questions that you like better. And creating your own is really easy too. I did it oftentimes for a review for my vocabulary. So I would just make questions that went with my vocabulary, and it created it for me. So making your own is not difficult either in Quizzizz. I just didn't show you that part of it. Did everybody like the little memes that came after the questions? I like that part too.
I did. I didn't realize you could select more than one answer. I guess I didn't read the directions.
And that one might not have said that very well either. That's something that when you go through as a teacher, you'll want to make sure you check too. Yeah. Becky did just put the link to the presentation in the chat again for you.
And I wanted to add, this part can be hard. Like if for Edpuzzle, if it's obviously one-to-one is the best. And I know some districts are not one-to-one, which is okay. That's why with station work, sometimes I only had a couple of computers out. It does work with their phones as well. There's apps or web browser. But unfortunately, if a student does not have internet access at home right now, Edpuzzle is a tough one to use, obviously. But thanks, Tiffany.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, while you're thinking, I'm posting in the chat the links for today. There's a link for the feedback form, so please go ahead and fill that out. It shows you were here and gives us some feedback on how we did. The webinar website is there, our online learning hub, and the rest of the sessions for this week are listed up there. We just have today and tomorrow due to the Easter time coming up. And then our suggestion form if there's anything you'd like us to do in the future. Our email addresses are there too, so feel free to email us with any specific questions, and thank you all for coming.
We'll see you at 11.
Thank you.
Thanks.